love you.
If you have a pet, you know it's much more than an animal.
And she grew in my hands and became a part of us. My son, 6-year-old Gregory, he loves her.
Ruby is now 3 years old, sometimes in her cage, sometimes roaming the house with Julia.
I have a stand in front of my treadmill in the bedroom, so when I exercise, she exercises.
That's the fun part. But there is also reality. Julia's husband works from home, and Ruby likes to talk and squawk. So Julia contacted a woman labeled by an animal group as a bird expert.
She offered me to put my Ruby with her birds for a day to see how she is going to react.
On YouTube, the woman, Debbie Carney, calls herself crazy as a parrot.
It's Debbie Carney, crazy as a parrot.
She took Ruby and Julia says promised to return the bird in a couple of days. But the reaction in the Berkovsky household that night was not great.
My son is crying hysterically. Let's get our Ruby back. My husband called her to get an address.
But Carney, who had put a video of Ruby on YouTube to show her off, said she would not return Ruby. Julia and her husband went to her house. The police were called.
She told them that she adopted the bird. They have no right to remove bird from the premises.
Julia was forced to leave Ruby behind.
I felt devastated. I was crying for 2 hours. My son is hysterical.
How could this lady take her away?
Julia then called Help Me Howard. We went to see Debbie Carney.
I'm from Channel 7 News, and we're doing a story that involves a bird that was taken from Julia.
There was no bird taken from Julia.
Carney let us come in to see her birds. Ruby was there. She told us she would never return Ruby because she had not been fed the proper food
And the only reason they said that they wanted the bird back was because of the child. You get that child, a little bird, and they're over it. I know how little children are.
Well, Howard, Debbie says Julia gave her the bird. Julia says she let her have it for a day or two. Legally, who owns Ruby?
In a courtroom, a judge would have to decide 3 things. If this was a gift, theft, or what the law calls a bailment, which means you're holding someone's property for a few days. With nothing in writing, a judge would have to decide who he or she believes.
Julia went to court. A judge believed her and signed an order forcing Debbie Carney to return the parrot to Julia. When police went to her home to get the bird, Carney told them she gave Ruby to a woman in North Miami. When police went to her house, she wouldn't open the door. We went by. Again, she didn't answer the door, and neighbors said she no longer had any birds.
Hopefully someone watching will let us know where Ruby is. And a lesson to everyone. If you're going to give someone something of value to hold, either put it in writing or have a witness so you can prove you didn't give it away.
I'm going to proceed with the civil lawsuit.
Julia says Debbie Carney has moved out of town. Julia is going to sue her for what she's done, while now offering cash to anyone who knows who has Ruby or where she is right now.
At this point, I would like to offer a reward to the general public to help me return Ruby back home. $2,000 to the person who physically gonna bring her back here.
$2,000 if Julia gets Ruby back, and $500 if you just tell her where the bird is. Call us or Julia. Her contact information is at WSVN.com under this Help Me Howard story. And Howard said to get something in writing if you drop off your animal. So I asked, why couldn't a kennel or a groomer say, oh, Patrick gave me that dog? Howard says because they're in the business of boarding or grooming animals, it's implied that it's only temporary, and of course you get your animal back. The hopes of solving your problem flown the coop